What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is video number 3 today. We already had 2 great videos earlier, so if you haven't watched those yet, definitely check them out at the end of this video. So in today's video, I want to talk about OCGN. I just want to make sure I got that ticker right. OCGN, and this stock is up over 200% today, and it absolutely is killing it. And this stock was up yesterday, so if you look at stocks based on the highest gainers of the day, you should have had this on your watch list already for today. I know I was expecting some pretty good things out of it, and I wasn't holding any overnight position because I felt like that was a lot of risk. But in this case, I was able to trade it profitably several times throughout the day. It had some really good setups, and I took some live recordings, and sometimes fidelity crashed, which was actually very frustrating, so I had to stop the recording. So I actually don't have all the super profitable trades, but I'm going to walk through exactly where I bought on the chart and what the technical analysis tells you about OCGN that would allow you to make these profitable trades for yourself. And if you're like me, you're probably not going to want to take a ton of size because these are the types of moves that happen very quickly and could just as easily go against you as with you. But if you take small size, you cut your losses quickly, and you take your profits when you have them, this can be a good opportunity to make a quick profit. So with that being said, let's dive into my computer and I'm going to talk about the charts for you guys. All right, guys, here we are on my laptop. Hopefully you can see it. And this is today the chart for OCGN. And you can see it had quite the run, man. If we go on the 5-day chart, I mean, my goodness, this was down at 29 cents and it went all the way up to over $3, which is an incredible run for this to go on. This, again, like I said previously, this was up a ton yesterday, even though it doesn't look like it compared to today. And because of that, it was on my watch list. I expected this to do big things. If you have a stock that closes this well, closes right at the highs, uptrend the entire day, it's pretty likely that it's going to gap up and continue to spike into the next day. So because of that, I was watching this and I was expecting big things out of it. Like I said, I didn't overnight this particular one because I didn't catch it in time. I was busy watching some other stuff. But today, I expected it to have a dip and rip, and that is exactly what we got here. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, it's going to be easier for you guys to see. So let me just pull this up right here. So here you can see it had, actually, there we go. Let's pull it up right here. So here you can see it pretty much had a bottom here. It found a bottom around this 180 area, and this held up very well. And that is how I knew to get in, right in this area. So I ended up buying right when it broke out here. I believe it was in this area. Might have been $2. I'm not positive. So this was where I had my first buy. And, maybe it was up in here. But anyways, this would have been a good buy. I was busy watching TSNP and a couple other stocks, so I didn't catch this one in time as soon as I would have liked to. Obviously, I could have gotten a way better entry, but you can see, again, it really holds up this support here. It pretty much triple bottoms and works its way back up after that. And when you see this type of pattern, you're looking for it to rip through these resistance areas and then break out to new highs. And that is exactly what we got here. So, some areas you could have entered in is when it breaks out over this resistance here. And I think that is where I entered the first time. I think that's actually where I entered the first time, somewhere right in here. And it rips on up through, has a nice little run, and then continues to run up. And we see as soon as it breaks over this high here, it just rips right up through that, up through 250. That also would have been a great buy. And then later on, it actually had a couple of areas where you could have dip bought, because pretty much every time this stock tanked, you can see these are just 1-minute candles. It has a huge sell-off, and then you can actually get back in. And I actually ended up selling on one of these and having to buy back in. So I might have bought for the break of 2, and then I had to sell, in one of these washes, and then I ended up getting back in several times on this stock. So I didn't trade it perfectly by any means. I'm not an expert by any means, but there's some things about this pattern that really make it pretty predictable. And as long as you don't trade too big to where emotions become a huge part of it, and you cut your losses quickly when it goes against you, it really is a great setup. So I'm going to go over here real quick so you guys can see. Yeah, so here, I had to close out, but you can see I entered at 214 Yeah, so I guess I entered right there, and, you know, expecting this to break out over this, and because it bottomed here, you know, this is my risk at this point. You know, I can risk off a 2, or you can risk off of, you know, this area that it bounced off several times. But at this point, you know, I'm up $30 on the trade, up 10% already. And again, I'm not trading with big size, so I don't expect anything huge out of these positions in terms of life-changing profits. I do this to master the trading, and then once I get really good at it, really consistent, then I can size up. So in this case, I'm not sure if it's rejecting or not. You know, I want to make sure that I lock in my profits. So, you know, we see what happens, and I think I end up cutting. But this is what's frustrating to me, real quick, kind of an aside here. This is what's very frustrating to me about Fidelity. You can see here, this happens sometimes when there's a ton of volume on a stock. You see how this level 2 stops printing? The time doesn't change, even though the level 2 is printed, but the time in sales stops printing. This is when it freezes, and it won't update until you completely close the app and open it again and log back in, which is very frustrating if you are, you know, in the middle of a trade. This completely messes up your rhythm, and I've definitely missed some opportunities because of that. I missed some today because of that. So that is something that's frustrating. I'm not sure if this is just like a glitch that's on my end, or if it's an issue with Fidelity overall, but it honestly is making me consider getting a new broker just because this is so annoying, because I love Fidelity besides that, but that is just so incredibly frustrating. But anyways, I mean, this stock absolutely killed it, man. And if you dip bought at any one of these times, you know, you had this massive wash. I didn't get executed here, so I ended up not trading that. And then it, you know, it bounced again. It had a nice little run, but it wasn't able to break out past those 3 highs again, so it just kind of consolidated for the rest of the day. Looking forward to tomorrow, like, this closed pretty near the highs. I mean, not super near the highs, but I mean, it wasn't super weak going into close, honestly. I mean, it held up the gains decently well. So, you know, if this continues, it could potentially gap up a little bit. And what is crazy to me about this is the volume. I mean, the volume on this was astronomical. We have almost 1 billion shares traded, 911 million shares traded on this stock, which is absolutely insane. I mean, look at that volume compared to the rest of the, you know, the period. This is all those momentum traders hopping on, and I mean, wow, it's exciting stuff. So for plays like this, you know, if you see, honestly, this is a good overnight. This is pretty much a grade A overnight setup. You know, if you see it doing this and closing at its highs, this is pretty good sign that you want to overnight this stock. And if I'd been paying more attention, I probably would have bought and held overnight. But you never know when the offering is going to come on this. And honestly, if I look at the news, like if it says, why is it up? It says it's jumping on the proposal to cut share issuance authorization by 100 million. So instead of diluting by 500 million shares, it's only going to dilute by 400 million shares. Oh, wow, that's such great news. That warrants a 200% increase. No, it definitely doesn't. So, you know, in this case, we have to play this carefully, and I think that's part of the reason that I might not feel comfortable to overnight this. But just in general, I mean, it's still kind of holding that uptrend. So looking into tomorrow, it could definitely continue to run. And, you know, I'm excited to see what this stock brings. I only locked in $91. I ended up rebuying back in on the break of 240, you know, after I sold my position from what was it? Yeah, so 214, then I ended up selling out here at 220. No, I kept adding to my position. Okay, and then I ended up selling out at when it cracked there, and then I ended up buying back in at 240, buying back in on the break there. Buying back more there, and then I ended up selling a little bit higher. I ended up buying back, and then I ended up selling more. So I mean, I had a bunch of profitable trades on this stock. Definitely a winner for today, and these are just the types of little things that you want to be looking at when you're trading intraday. You know, there's a lot of volume on this stock, so it can easily rip through stuff, and you need to be careful to cut your losses quickly, but also, like, if you're having any doubts about your position and it's seeming like it's weak, get out. You know, get out and get back in if you need to. And I actually traded a lot smaller positions on this so that I could do that, because I have a cash account, which means that I don't have to worry about the PDT. My money has to settle. But if I trade a $500 position in a $17,000 account, that means I have a lot of trades that I can make versus if it's just 3-day trades in 5 business days. So definitely recommend looking into a cash account if you have an account that's, I would say, probably over 5,000, but less than 25,000, I would say probably look into having a cash account if you're not planning on shorting. Because I mean, I'm still just going along with all this stuff, and it was a good opportunity. So look for these types of opportunities. Learn to recognize these support and resistance levels. You know, dip buy near support, or you can buy breakouts when it's breaking out over resistance. And both of these are, you know, pretty successful. Definitely be aware that if you try to predict breakouts, it can get a little rough, and it might reject the breakout and shoot down against you. So that's something you need to look out for, especially on stocks like this. It moves super fast. In stocks like this, I definitely recommend also using using a limit order, because if you use a market order on stocks like this, at least when you're buying, you're going to get a horrible execution. I always try to buy into a flood of sellers, if that makes sense. And when I see a bunch of red prints, that's when I try to buy. Unless I'm buying a breakout, and then, you know, I try to do it before it breaks out past the key level. Because if you try to say, yeah, I guess this is one way that could happen. Let's see. I actually have, if you look at this candle right here, it went above 3 for just a second, but it absolutely rejected. So let's go here. So here you can see this is the screen recording from when it went to go through $3, and it happens pretty quickly. It's kind of like in that area, and, you know, we're not sure if it's going to happen, but I see, you know, what is it, 298 start to print, and I'm thinking, all right, this could probably break. Do I want to add? I'm in from 287 here, and it ends up breaking. There we go. You see it prints, ends up breaking. Everyone hits buy. You hit buy with a market order, and then all of a sudden you're in from 305, and the stock is down to, you know, 292, because there's so many shorts who are trying to get in at that, you know, that psychological level. So you need to be aware of that, and definitely don't use market orders if you're doing it like this. I learned that the hard way, and definitely got some horrible executions on this stock, especially on selling. If you're selling right before it cracks a key level on a stock with this much volume, limit orders are probably the way to go too, because you see these massive tails. This is because there's a ton of people selling right there, and then it instantly bounces back. So you could get executed at the absolute bottom, and that is a horrible feeling, and, you know, you don't want that to happen. So make sure you're using these limit orders instead of market orders. And, you know, you can put it just for a little bit farther. You know, if you're trying to get out at, say, you call it 230, you know, you can put it at 227 or something like that to make it a little more likely to get executed, even if it goes past it. But that way you're not getting executed at 220, just because that's disgusting, and then you're going to feel horrible when it continues on and bounces up after that. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. Just learn these technical analysis indicators, support and resistance. That is pretty much all I go based off of, and momentum. And, you know, it's going pretty well for me. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. If it was, please smash that like button, and I will see you guys in the next one. I think I have another video coming today. I am a machine today, just churning them out. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.